Saim. Did I say Saim? After the disaster of the first T20, where everyone was screaming for Saim Ayub to open, Pakistan finally made the right call. And boy, did Saim deliver. A flawless masterclass of an innings, oozing with coolness, class, and impeccable timing. No fear, just pure brilliance as he read lengths early and tore apart the inexperienced South African bowling attack. It's a shame he didn't get to his century, but this selfless knock was exactly what Pakistan's T20 cricket had been missing. Those effortless, no-look shots like a melody in motion. It's almost insane that Pakistan had Saim batting one down in the previous game, especially given his recent form and the number of chances he was given prior. Seriously, did you hear the commentary suggesting that Saim needs to understand his position in the lineup? The only people who need to figure out where he belongs are the ones who put him at one down in the first place. Let me take you through the highlights of the game now. For Pakistan, this was a Saim Ayub show through and through. His energy and composure set the tone, and the players around him had no choice but to match his intensity. Those who didn't, well, let's talk about them. Mohammad Rizwan's struggle as an opener continued. He looked uncomfortable against a young, inexperienced South African bowling attack, slipping, falling, and eventually getting out. The stubbornness to keep him at the top must end before it harms Pakistan's potential. If you compare Saim's innings in the second T20 with Rizwan's innings from the first, where both were on crease till the latter half of the innings, the key difference was the aggression with which the innings started and continued. Saim played with power and intensity from the get-go and didn't lose momentum in his innings, whereas Rizwan, in his old-fashioned way, needed to preserve the wicket first and only accelerated when it was too late. Also, Saim didn't slow down as he was approaching his 50 or 100. In fact, he hit a 6 to reach his 50 and rotated strike when he was in the 90s, something that we rarely see when Rizwan or Babar bat, and especially when they're approaching their milestones. Babar Azam played a useful second fiddle but threw away his wicket with an unnecessary shot when all he needed to do was rotate the strike and allow Saim to keep going. After Babar's departure, Saim tried to build partnerships, but Usman Khan's PSL mindset and continuous slogging just didn't cut it. He can't keep slogging, backing away, and making the same mistake over and over again, especially when there is a set batter on the other end. He has been given quite a few opportunities, and he has failed to deliver to the caliber that supposedly warrants his selection in the team. Tahir once again raised doubts about his place in the team, giving an easy wicket to debutant Tayyab. After Saim's brilliance, these missed chances raise a big question: who's to blame for Pakistan's inconsistency? One of the many problems facing Pakistan batting is that once they accelerate, they can't keep up with the acceleration, and whenever they do, wickets start falling around them. Usman and Tayyab didn't tickle the scorecard much and left it up to the next batter to accelerate. Irfan Khan Niazi silenced his critics who've been sending him to bat at random positions with little time to settle. His impressive strike rate proves that he's more than capable of taking on a higher role in the batting order, especially over some of the recently recruited middle order batters. He has the right technique and temperament and can easily clear boundaries when needed, making him a valuable asset in the back end of an innings. Pakistan's experienced bowling lineup, on the other hand, was woefully predictable with slower ones and lacked the intensity needed to trouble the South African batters. Rauf, coming off his ICC Player of the Month award, was the most expensive, getting hammered by Hendricks and Dussen. It's a sin to have him bowl in the power play, especially since he conceded the most sixes and had the most expensive over in that phase. Afridi also proved expensive, giving away 46 runs in his 4 overs with his lone wicket of Hendricks coming far too late. Shaheen Afridi, despite his impressive outing last game, failed to get a wicket in his first over and couldn't control the onslaught in his second spell either. But hopefully he's okay after taking a hit on his shoulder. Bowlers looked miserable considering the amount of experience they have and a reason to bench other young bowlers. One can argue that Pakistani bowlers were also to blame for the first T20, where after South Africa was 8 down for 141 in the 15th over, bowlers failed to restrict George Linde, who was able to then add 40-odd runs to the total. Sufyan Muqim, who was selected over Faisal Akram due to his performance against Zimbabwe, was inexplicably left out. While Jahadad picked up 2 wickets early, he did leak 26 runs in his final 2 overs. If the goal is to give youngsters exposure, why are they benched after one bad outing, while batters like Usman Khan and even Saim Ayub get continuous opportunities? And when we know that all-rounders have been shining in the T20 format, if Saim Ayub can be given a go, why not let him bowl? This defensive mindset and the lack of experimentation in the bowling department cost Pakistan the game, although one could argue that the team was still 10 to 15 runs short overall. The South African batters were not going to let Pakistan pace battery operate in their own backyard, and the REEZA storm that started blew away any chances Pakistan had to equalize the series. South Africa's bowling, though inexperienced, was still disappointing, with debutant Gilliam, who was the pick of the bowlers, removing Usman and Tayyab, finishing with 2 for 21 off 4 overs. The rest of the attack was hammered as Pakistan scored 70 runs off the last 4 overs bowled by Bartman, Ferreira, and Mafaka, and all of them gifted plenty of extras. Peter would also want to forget his lackluster performance. George Linde, who was the standout bowler in the first T20, could only manage to dismiss Bobber. While South Africa's young bowlers faltered, their batters, although missing Killer Miller, took control. Hendricks was exceptional, smashing 10 sixes with flawless stroke play, displaying pure class and experience. Dussen, too, was a treat to watch. His measured aggression mixed with timely shots and some entertaining moments as he slipped and slid to save his wicket. Together, they dominated Pakistan by targeting the short boundary. Their performances highlighted the difference between the two teams. Despite both teams having a rough day with the ball and losing an opener early, South Africa's middle order, led by RASSIE, Dussen's unrelenting innings, kept the pressure on and never let the momentum slip, continuing to accelerate right until the last ball. Even after Hendricks' departure, Clausen came in and kept the strike rotating, ensuring the chase stayed on course. That's it for me for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do like and subscribe to Citrus Silly Point, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, take care.